Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Mesified server. Wait a minute. Hermitcraft Mesified server doesn't have a giant slime thing. This is the modded server. Jeez, I keep doing the wrong intro. Poor old Asuma sitting here trying to record his video, saying the wrong things. Welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitpack modded Minecraft 1.10 server. And I have got the buzz to play Minecraft today. Oh yes, to play modded specifically. Every now and then you log on here and your mind is just a whirl with ideas. And that's kind of what's happening right now. So much so it's hard to keep track of them all. So today's episode I feel like is going to be one of those ones where we jump about a bit and work on different things. And we'll talk about each thing as we come to it. The first thing that I do want to talk about is the path that we got going through our base. This thing is going to be ditched. I've got loads of comments from people saying, no, keep the path, it's amazing. It's an absolute time sink to do, and I don't think there's any ways to cheapen this up and make it a little bit quicker. So what we're going to do is connect that path to a new path that'll be over here, and it'll go by this brand new building that has appeared out of nowhere. And I have had a great time putting this thing together. The idea is to just have a little bit of fun putting together a very simple building. It's not a work of art, but in this case, everything that I tried first time just looked good to me, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. So we've got some coal there behind the glass. We're trying to set a bit of a dark theme, which doesn't really get across from the outside, but when you look in, you can certainly get a sense of that. And can you guess where this thing is going to teleport us to? If you're not aware of what we're doing here, we're building lots of flat buildings, and each of them take you to a different dimension. This one is for the wither farm that we have. So we've got wither skulls on the wall. It's generally dark and a little bit evil in here. We've got those blocks that we use to farm the withers with, and it's looking pretty cool, I gotta say. We also got a little trim of Midori, as we always do have in each of our buildings. So the plan here is to hook this thing up to our new path that isn't going to be detailed. And the block I think we're going to end up using is probably brownstone, since it's part of our building palette. But I will look into some other blocks as well. This is also made to be a path block, because when you walk over it you get a slight speed boost, which is something we don't have to worry about when we can fly. But this will be the path, and it'll be so much easier to build when you've just got a free wide thing like that. Now this one is going to go straight ahead over here. It's going to connect to the ziggurat. It's going to go off down to the industrial area, and it will go back over here and connect to these two buildings as well as the path. But that's going to be very simple to put together. So I was thinking, how can we make this a little bit special? And I was remembering what we learned with the positive chisel design. I think maybe what we should come up with is some sort of little ledge that just resides on the next block over, or maybe even on the edge of this one just above it, and then we can use our chisel patterns to put that in. It's got to be said, but this positive chisel design block, or item even, is just excellent. I love it, and I'm trying out 3 different colours from our palette. We got the orange, which I think looks reasonable. We got the Midori, which I think looks really nice, but it pops out a lot. And then we've got sandstone over here, which just kind of blends in. So that one's, I think, getting ruled out. But anyway, doing this with this thing is so easy, because you just got to right click on it, hold down Alt, select that one, and now you can go around placing it on other blocks. So I put down a few bits here and there, and I think Midori is going to win on this one. Plus it is an important block of our build palette as well. But let's take a look at the path that this is going to go on. You can see it extends all the way down here and around to the ziggurat. So we're using 3 different types of block. We've got this gridded one here, then one where the grid sort of runs through the middle and you've got some bigger tiles, and then one with the grid, the bigger tiles, and then a big square in the middle. And that one I've used quite sparingly, so that's kind of randomized the path a little bit, right? But it still needs more, because this is quite plain. So around this we're also going to throw in a few extra blocks as well. And one of the things that I did is I chucked in some of these wooden crates here and there. I never really mentioned it, and they just add so much, and I think we need a few more items like that in this area to bring it to life. But wooden crates certainly does it, so we're going to be throwing a few of those around the path as well. So now that the Midori strip is in place, I think we can safely say it looks pretty cool, and I love it when it goes up and down these steps, which I had to swap over. You can't chisel step blocks, you have to have a full block, so that's been converted into steps and then had the little strip thrown down it. And around here you'll see there are a few more crates as well, and I've been looking for other things that would fit in this area, and I think these small storage crates would look good, but there's such an abundance of stuff, it's like you don't know where to start looking. And I've actually spent my time just flicking through these, looking for items that look interesting. And whenever one pops up, it's usually some sort of block that takes a lot of crafting to get to. But we will throw these crates down here as well. I've got a few other different types of wooden block that I think might look good as well. But the problem then is, you've just got crates everywhere. You need a few other things to go with it, so got to look out for that. Anyway, I was going to do the same thing down the front of the factory that we got over here. I was going to put loads of different crates. That's why I was picking out all of these different blocks that sort of look like crates. And then I was starting to think about putting down some plants and stuff like that. Maybe have a little bit of a garden. Now, because it's a factory, crates and stuff out the front would make sense. But maybe we have a garden on one side and then like a workhouse area on the back, because there's quite a big space over here before the water, so something can be done on that side. So I've been coming by using the swapping one to sort of swap these out, and I think what we want is like a slab trim across the front. So I'm going to try a few different things, but maybe something as simple as spruce, just going across like this, and then having some flowers on the other side could look good. That being said, the straight line is probably a little bit boring. Maybe we should... In fact, we could follow the sand there and have it sort of go in and then come out again. I just had a moment flying in here where the place looked really great because there's quite a few things coming together. I had been a little bit demotivated at times with our building palette because it's felt like something that I'm not particularly great at working with, but the challenge is starting to really reward itself as this place expands, and we've got to continue doing that. Just been on a little round trip to pick up some things. Wanted to see if these flax seeds would be planted on dirt. They cannot be. So I got some dead bushes, which, by the way, when you use shears to pick them up, and, well, I used all of my shears, but they also drop sticks as well. So in Modded, you can make an infinite stick farm using some shears, and yeah, no one really cares, do they? It's just something that I noticed. So I'm going to throw a few of these in here. That'll be fine. We got some leaves, which are going to look a little bit dead, and we got some grass that I picked up as well. All vanilla items. I just don't know my mods well enough where to look for certain things. So the leaf blocks, I think, are going to be the most important ones. In fact, I should probably go pick up some birch ones as well. And this is literally the aim right here, just to throw these down. If you're wondering about the torches and think the torches don't look too great, I kind of like the torches. They're in a grid, and they've actually been in a grid the entire time. Like, the entire area has been lit up by torches in this same grid, and they just happen to line up with the factory, which is really cool. Actually, I like that already. I like the dead bushes. That's looking pretty cool. And by the way, this stuff is hardened clay tiles, so you grab your regular clay, you can craft it into the hardened stuff, and yeah, you can make slabs of it, and I thought they looked better than the spruce. That's looking great, man. These leaf blocks, they do the job here. What about the grass as well? Can we chuck some of that in, maybe at the front? So we've ended up with a kind of three-tier effect. So we put our grass at the front, dead bushes behind them, and leaves at the back, and it's ended up looking pretty cool. I also went and grabbed some spruce leaves, and man, those do not look as nice. The green is just a little bit too much. And these leaves, moaned about them before in vanilla, when you put them in the desert biome, they go a little bit ugly, but actually in the right setting, they look really good. And then I was looking at this from a distance and thinking, it's really nice, but I think there's something to be learned here, which is that border helps the building pop out of the ground, which is something that these other ones don't have. They kind of blend a little bit when you're not focusing on them, and that's because this sandstone is such a similar colour to the sand. So I'm wondering, maybe what they need is just like a little border of dirt around the outside. It might not look too great, but I want to experiment with it a little bit at least. And another thing I also tried, by the way, is to chisel the dirt. So you can actually just whack this with a chisel. I felt like the vanilla dirt looked good, but some of these other ones, not so great, and I didn't want to spend ages just throwing down lots of different textures there, just in case you're wondering why I didn't use chisel. So throwing in the leaves and the dead bushes around the area here, working really great, works a charm. The dirt don't look so bad, but I think having like a set perimeter around each building isn't the way to go. Probably best to have like a little patch in between each of the buildings to separate them a little bit. I don't know, it just looks a little bit awkward, I think, so that's something that's going to have to be worked on. This area is going to be a constant evolution, you know, we're going to be expanding and changing little things as we go, but it's not the focus of today's episode. I've actually got a new project in mind. We've started lots of new projects, and this is one that I believe we will do most of in one episode, because it's going to be quite simple. So we are going to be jumping into environmental tech once again, and this is something that's probably more useful earlier on in the game, but we've sort of taken a different path with gathering resources. We're going to be building a void ore miner, and I've also noticed that there is a void resource miner as well. So the difference between ores and resource, not 100% sure, but this one is going to get us ores like diamond ore. And basically it's a multi-block structure that you craft, and then it feeds you materials constantly. And I think maybe the resources one would actually be better at this stage in the game if it could provide us with some blocks for building. So I've gone ahead and I've made all the things that we need for the void ore miner 2. This includes 4 modifier cores, which could be quite interesting. We'll look at those in a second, and a clear laser lens. I thought I'd point out that that is this item here, the clear lens. I kept typing in laser or clear laser and it wasn't coming up on here. And we've got bedrock on the side because apparently you need to have bedrock below one of these things for it to work. And where I was going to build this, there isn't actually any bedrock. And that place is the end. And it has been a while since we last saw this project. I gotta say, I do like it, but it is nothing like what I thought we'd end up building. You see, in my mind, it was really simple. You'd come to the void environment. With modded, you could just build massive shapes and they would look really cool. And actually, it turned out that it's quite a lot of hard work to get something like this done, and it's not terribly great. But I thought this would be a cool location. This middle area right here is a little bit lacking of some detail or something interesting to look at. And so for a focal point, I thought it'd be pretty cool. How do we actually get down here? I've got to fly like out and around, right? There we go. I thought this would be a pretty cool place to put the void miner. Now the problem is, we've got the void, there's void all around us and below us, but I think the thing itself relies on bedrock, and there is actually no bedrock here. So I've sort of been investigating, or trying to find if there's a way to move bedrock. Maybe one of those wands that we use from time to time, one of these things, would be able to move it, but I just don't know. So I need to figure that one out. And I think what I want to do is place it a little bit lower than all of this. So somewhere down here is where our void miner is going to go. And I believe it outputs its items on top of itself. So we'll need a little bit of space here. This is just temporary. And above it we'll have all of those things going to an ender chest or something like that. Now we've done this before. All you need to do is use the assembler. Hold down right click and it magically places all of those blocks. That looks really cool. And in a moment it will tell us that we have successfully built this thing. Is there a little bit more to go? Yeah, there we go. It's been done. So this lens in the middle, by the way, can be changed to a different color, and that should give you different efficiencies or something. It just says increases effectiveness with accuracy modifiers. I do not know, and I could not find out if there is some sort of combination thing between which ones that you use, but there are also some modifiers down here, like this one. Increases accuracy, works on void miners. So we could chuck some of those in to make this thing, I was going to say more efficient, but technically it'd be more accurate, right? So it's shining a beam into the void, which to me is a good sign to begin with. And I don't know if we're going to be able to see the items. It doesn't have an interface. I think we just got to put a chest next to it for now. Fantastic news. It works without bedrock. You really do just need the void. And that is where it is mining from. And it needs a little bit of power to do that. So we've got a dimensional transceiver on top and this chest to the side. Now this thing is getting items, but it's getting them very slow. We've been running this for about 2 minutes and that's all we've got so far. And for symmetry's reasons, I think I'm going to put a chest on either side and then put a conduit on top of each of them pointing back into the transceiver and having this thing send the items back into our system, just for neatness sake, because I kind of want to expand what's going on here. So we're going to upgrade this thing, I do believe, unless I don't have the resources for it, because that is pretty slow. It will be running around the clock though. You know, we've got the loaded chunks here. And I've only loaded the ones in a ring around the outside because that's where I plan on building all of my solar panels. So actually we should claim this one in the middle here and make it a loaded one as well. How do I do that? Oh, it is loaded. I've already done it. Excellent. So we've successfully upgraded to level 3 down here. And I think what I would like to do is build some sort of glass structure that goes downwards and connects this beam so it looks like a drill head or something like that. And as I say it, the first thought that comes to mind is you should get level 4 first, and I think there's some material called mica or something that is holding us back from doing that. So that's a project for another day. This thing though has collected a fair bit of ore, and I think they all go into that chest now. I think there's like one in this one over here. That hasn't changed for a while, so these ones are technically not going to do anything, so the only one we need to activate is this one here. Right, got to configure this thing up to send the items. Also, this was set to extract but it was turned off, so now it should be taking the ores out. Excellent. Cool, so it's going to send it through the dimensional transceiver back to our base. We might do a little bit of ore processing today. I'm not sure what I want to do next, but we are going to leave this place. But I do just want to take a step back and show you that I've tidied up these little bits down here at the bottom. They were sort of half done. There was also some glass floating around in this mid area because initially we were going to put glass on top of each of these blocks, but we ended up using this thing that stops the Enderman spawning. Turns out that we are going to do ore processing, but we might not finish it because I'm having a little bit of a trouble with it. But you'll notice something here. We've got alloy smelters over there, we've got alloy smelters over here, and we've got some sort of strange trim around it. Now I thought I want something to make this one over here pop and identify it as a different setup from the one on that side. That's when we're crafting stuff and we need to chuck something in here to smelt it. This one is our automated ore processing, and so I put a trim of this clay around the outside, and I think maybe a different texture might have looked better, or perhaps I should have chiseled it with a smaller block size. That's like 2 pixels, and you can go all the way down to 1 pixel. So anyway, it kind of identifies it. It looks a little bit goofy. We'll probably change it, but we're running into a bit of a problem here. So in this chest I have all of the ores which are inside our system. A lot of this were not from the void miner, but some of it was. And if we go over here and type in ore, you will see that there are ores in the system again. If I take these ones out and we check it again in a moment, there will be even more of them. So somehow the ores are coming into our system and they're not going through the little setup that I've made at the back here. We have 2-dimensional transceivers. One of them is going to receive items from ore input. Our dimensional transceiver in the end is now sending items into there. So that's where they come in, and then they make their way back out again with this one over here. You'll see it's hooked up to xisumavoid farm, which I don't think you can rename this, and I'd really like to rename it, but the problem is I've probably hooked this up to a lot of stuff that I would forget about, and then something somewhere would break. So I sort of spotted my mistake here straight away, which is that the item conduit can go from this one straight over to that one there, and that might still be the problem, which is why over here I set the priority to -1. So surely this thing should look to insert in these other places first of all, and that might be exactly what it's doing, but it's in in-out mode, so it can insert and it can extract as well. There we go, and you can see active without signal as well, so it will work automatically. And then I've configured these so that their input and output is like this. And I'm not 100% sure if an item goes into this top slot, if the extract from this thing can then take out of that one, but considering that they're both Ender IO, you think they'd work together well. So I can't figure out where the problem is. They should in theory pick one of these to go into and they get extracted again. Well, I've now sussed it out. It has been figured out, and it was a simple little mistake that I made. I forgot to put this thing into furnace mode. Well, that's not true. I actually went through and clicked on all of them, but I put them into alloy mode, not realizing, because it says furnace mode at the top, but I was reading that bit. So now it's actually in furnace only mode, and that means that the items can go in there, which is great. You can see they're coming through. And I built 6 of these, but at the rate they come through at, you wouldn't think we'd need them. I've also built capacitor upgrades for these, and at the moment they have none, so it looks like the system's going to be just fine. And the trim at the front here I put down to 1 pixel, and that looks so much better, as it does on the other side as well. But there is another thing to show you here, because we may have one more problem with this system, but also I found a really cool fix for this. Well, I think I found a fix, but it turns out that the other thing was the fix. Anyway, I was looking at the back of this stuff, opening the settings, going through all the things, and then I noticed that you could change the channel color. Now, I knew this, but in this moment, it kind of made sense to me how it would work, and it turns out it works the way I thought it would. So we create a blue channel for inserting items into this. Then what I went and did is I made 2 channels on one of these. So the insert is green, and then the extract is blue. So this one right here is green, meaning items coming into the system can go into there, but when they come out of the system, they go through the blue line, and that would definitely separate them and make sure they come through here and go out to there. But as you've seen, we've actually figured out that it's just that little thing right there. Another problem that happened is that glowstone came into this system, so it didn't do that until I changed it over to this with the blue and the green, so it might be a good idea now to actually have it all run off the green, but it will put the items in there, I hope, into the furnace and smelt them up, and then the glowstone won't get stuck in there as well. But if you're wondering why I did the system like this, it's because I wanted to avoid whitelisting. We could have made a bunch of filters for all the ores and extracted them like this and that, and I thought actually, If we do it like this, if we just run everything through like a chain, so the items come from the other side, go through this, and then into our system, we wouldn't have to mess around with any item filters at all. So it's a brand new day for me, and I've been logged in for a while working on our factory, and then I went, oh, what about this thing over here? And I expected to see it all full up, because this hasn't been loaded overnight, has it? And look at this, there's loads of stuff coming through. And yes, some of you are probably going to point out that this is a very inefficient way to deal with some of these materials. Well, they are being generated infinitely, and I guess we can kind of like come to this again later and make it more efficient. There could be more things waiting in the pipeline to come through. As I say it, this one has stopped. I guess, why is it not taking that out? Well, I have no idea why it wouldn't take the coal out of that machine, but we're now in the end, so let's not worry about that. I was expecting to see a whole bunch of materials inside of these crates, but actually the entire thing is empty. Now when we're not loading our base, this area is going to get backed up, so it may just be that I came over here right as it was finishing going through the ores, but there's not even anything inside the dimensional transceiver, but that's timing for you, I guess. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's just going to hit me as I came back through the portal that if it's got nowhere to go with its current configuration, then it's going to go all the way to the end, the one that has the lowest priority, right? So now we actually need to go back to that green and blue system which I showed you earlier. I'm just going to set that up and we'll see how it works another time. So not all of the ores smelt, which is another problem, so we are getting some backed up in here, which means I need to make an item conduit and an item filter, simple stuff just between these two right here. So we're back in the factory and we're going to come to the potion brewing bit later on. I'm going to talk about that. As of right now, we're going to focus on building, and you'll notice that the right side is different to the left. I've decided to hide the Midori. I felt like it just didn't work as well on the inside, and so we've covered it up with sandstone, and that adds a little bit of shape and depth to the build, which I really do like. And I've also been playing around with throwing in some pipes because I want to make this place look a little bit more industrial. Now when it comes to the roof, what we're going to do is keep everything flat. I read your comments, got the feedback, and what we need to do is keep things consistent. If we throw in a slope roof, it's going to start to look pretty odd because all of the other buildings have flat roofs. So what I want to do is at one end have a tower and do something different at the other end. So we're going to sort of go with this shape slash style design whatever and rebuild it over here, although I think I'm going to make the top of the tower quite different, but somewhere around here is pretty much where the tower is going to be. And then I was thinking what we could do is connect some of these pipes to it as well, and maybe throw in some pipes around our netherwart farm, because at the moment it sort of looks okay, but it doesn't look very industrial. In fact, what I'm thinking about doing is perhaps removing some of these, like one or two here and there, and putting in some pillars so it can look a little bit more structured and connected to other things. So these shapes are looking interesting that I'm throwing together here. I was just looking at this strip of Midori and thinking we kind of need that on the tower as well, so maybe that's the place to put it. And the height is kind of big. It does sort of stick out a little bit, but it isn't too massive as of yet. And these bits right here, I'm really not sure what to do with them. Now, because we've got the tower at the end, it kind of throws off these being mirrored on either side, I guess you could say. So that one there is missing on the other end, which meant there were 7 of them in total. And I kind of thought about making one going taller than the next, but then that would kind of introduce a sloped element. So I'm not sure what's going to go on here, but I feel like we really need some other materials on the roof at the moment. There's too much sandstone. And I've also been considering maybe having a bit of a garden effect up there, like we put some more stuff like this into little boxes in the middle, but I'm really not sure if that will work. Anyway, we will focus on getting some more colour up here. All the different things I did with the ores today, I would say just forget it. I do not know what is going on here because my item filters weren't working. And so I decided to add an extra item filter because so many items here were stubborn. And now that I've turned the item filter off completely, it's not even extracting the items out. It's just stuck constantly. But what's weird is that when one that comes through here that can be smelted, it just disappears straight away. So this one down here is able to take them, but the ones on the side can't. It's just, I just need to forget that this is here and reapproach the project at another time. In fact, what I should really do is just now pump the items straight into the system instead of trying to smelt them because I cannot get this thing to work. So unfortunately my time for playing is coming to a draw. I really wanted to get more done with this, but you need to find the right groove, and I'm not sure if that tower is the way to go or not. I feel like it works really well, it just needs some tweaking here and there, but it is certainly a good start. And also these solar panels are going to need some work as well, because I'm not sure that this really works, and I wasn't able to throw in some other materials alongside this. But underneath here is some glowstone, that's why it looks so bright. But if I press F3, you'll see that the light level goes down, or at least the block light level goes down, and that's because this actually blocks the glowstone. Like, the glowstone light is coming from these 3 blocks and going over the top. So it's a shame that it doesn't go through that, and also these things are taking me a while to craft. I started to auto-craft them because they're from Ender.io, and it's going to be a while before we get enough to put them all over this area. But I think having them come over to the edge like this isn't the way to go. They probably need to be indented because they are quite bright. That's a little bit better. Maybe these blocks around the edge should be half slabs. Alright, it's time for me to explain what's going on with the potions, because this is what we were working on last time. The system that I built so far is going to be okay, but when we need a large demand of potions, like we will for our slime farm, it means we need to be able to brew them very quickly, which would mean building a large array of these things that can do the same thing over and over again. And when I say large, I mean very tedious, because all of this takes a long time to put together, and I can make silly mistakes like this. So some of you spotted this. Over here we have, if it would let me open it, we have an exporter, and then next to it I put an importer by mistake. So that's why this wasn't working, but otherwise the concept works just fine. Now I got hundreds of comments saying that I should use the crafter to do this automatically, and so I looked into it. If we have a crafter here, we can have multiple recipes inside of here, but it also means that we're going to need one of these exporters to feed it with some blaze powder and possibly something else. No, actually I think it takes care of everything else. Anyway, and then to automatically brew them, as far as I know, what we would have to use is a detector, and then that would have to be using redstone to send the signal to the crafter. So each unit would need an exporter, a crafter, and one of these, which is very similar to what we're doing already. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing. These potions don't get taken out of the system automatically, so we'd also need like some sort of conduit running above the top, and we'd end up with something pretty much the same as this that would run at the same speed, although it would have the potential for each one of these to hold 9 different recipes. So if you had 9 brewers in a row, they wouldn't all do one thing each, they could do up to 9. But I've done this before with other machines, and what I've experienced is if I tell the system that I want, you know, these potions right here, strength ones, and I want loads of them, it will only use one crafter. It won't then start using the other crafters that also have the same recipe. And that could be because I'm missing something or I don't know what I'm doing. But for me, at the moment, I just can't see the best way to actually get this going and to make it more efficient. So I want to have a chat with Iskal because he knows so much about this game. And of course, I'm looking for feedback from you guys as well. So we're not rushing anything here, you know. I'm a modded newbie. I'm trying to muddy my way around the pack, figuring things out, you know. It's never going to be straightforward, but I'm having fun doing it. And anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. As always, thank you for your support. And that's going to be it from me this one. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.